BFTB, best fight the best. So let's just get right into it. This Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder and what really happened.
I never let you down, I'ma shine on sight. Keep your mind on your grind and off of mine's alright. Right hard, I'ma ball on them squares. I float in $250,000 cars everywhere I go. I know in the lead it may seem me might be, but no matter what they doing, they don't do it like me. Like a G, I hold it down for the town I'm at. And a flash like that, recognize I'm back. I'm back.
In March 2016, the fight that they started to clamor for was Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua was climbing through the ranks. He was ranked number 2 in the WBC, and he was one fight away from being the mandatory to the WBC champion. At that time, it was Deontay Wilder. And being that Povetkin had his head troubles, Joshua was likely going to get a line. He was likely about to be in a line for a title shot. But, you know, with Tyson Fury getting stripped of the IBF title, that became open, and Glasgow fought Charles Martin for that belt. After Charles Martin won that title, Charles Martin was wanting to fight Deontay Wilder for a unification. But Eddie Hearn offered him a lot of money, 47% of the purse, pretty much. Offered him 47% to come over and fight Anthony Joshua in the UK. That was a fight that Charles Martin even said he couldn't turn down. It was too much money to turn down. So that's exactly what he did. He went over there and he lost his title, pretty much sold his title to Anthony Joshua. Now, after the fight, you know, they were still clamoring, you know, for Anthony Joshua to, you know, just to build his profile, build his brand. They were still talking about that. And they were asking him if he wanted to fight in the US and things of that nature. So let's go ahead and take a listen to what he said.
Do you think there'll be a time when you want to go to America to fight?
Yeah, I mean, it's up to Asia. I think there's appeal to that. It's got to make financial sense as well. And I think the plan would be to turn AJ into a pay-per-view fighter in America as well. But to do that, we have to build him on a network. And that might involve a fight in America as well.
Would you like to do that, go to Vegas?
Yeah, definitely. I fought there before. Me and my cousin, when we were like, what, how old was he? 19? 19, something before. It was good, man.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
Yeah, but all this across Vegas, because all the champions are floating about, like people you look up to. Floating over seniors, Julia, Bose Edwards, all of them were just around the amateur scene, so it'd be nice to fight out there. That's the mecca of boxing.
So as you can see, well here, he called it the Mecca of boxing. It's a place that he wanted to go out and fight, and he was ready to do that. So then you see at that time, they were still talking about how Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and Anthony Joshua, you know, they're the ones that are going to make the heavyweight division hot again. You know, and they were saying that Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, that was a fight that's finally going to make this division get excited about things again. So then they went back and they started to ask Anthony Joshua some other questions. You know, he did another interview, and just let's listen to what he had to say.
Is it just though? I mean, I've heard people say that they think Charles Martin's like the worst heavyweight world champion they've ever seen, and
you got to respect
Dominic Brazil in that gloves are off said it was 4 minutes of shame.
That's dismissive, you know.
What do you say to people that say that you've been given or gifted a world title?
Bro, I wish the IBF come and knocked on my door and said, Anthony Joshua, is that you? Here's an IBF title. You know, I've been working my way up, looking for opponents, and the heavyweight champion of the world called me out. You can't just jump from zero to hero. There's people guiding us over a long career, a dangerous career. You know the stories that happen in boxing, so people have got to understand it is a development, and I keep on preaching it. And if I ever become a trainer and I'm guiding someone through their career, I tell them the same thing. You can't listen to the demands of the public. This is your career, and follow the route that you've got to take, because when it's all said and done, it's only you looking in the mirror. So whether they're critical or not, they've got to tune in. If they don't want to tune in, don't tune in. But the people who want to support just to get behind me and keep on watching me develop, you know, because this ain't going to be my only defense. There's going to be hundreds more, and all at the right time, I will fight the likes of David Haye, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Pulev, Bermane Stiverne, because we're in an era right now where we have to fight each other. There's not been no era where Ali didn't fight Foreman, may he rest in peace. There's never been a time where the heavyweights in a certain area didn't fight each other. But it just has to happen when everyone's on a level playing field. Though Steph Curry, like, where did he come from, man? Mayweather. People only know about Mayweather probably 39th fight, 40th fight, because it takes years of developing, years of climbing that ladder. And it's hard because I'm a heavyweight. Since I stepped foot to the pro game, it's been like, boom, Anthony Joshua. But that's not down to me. That's like media channels and people wanting to get to know the man behind the gloves. But it's been hard to build. So that's what I'm saying. People expect me to just go from zero to hero. But that's why I say I'm quite humble, because I don't let that kind of phase my decisions. I know where I'm going. I know how to get there. And no one's going to sway that. Whether you agree with it or not, this is my career. And I'm going to guide myself to where I need to get to. And Brazil was an easy person to work with. He's a great opportunity for him. I think that's why he's taking it serious. But yeah, we looked at Eric Molina, looked at Bermane Stiverne. But it's just not easy. It wasn't as easy to happen or to make as it was with fighting Brazil. So those fighters, they're not ticked off the list. They might come in November when I fight again. God willing, I get past June. Do you know what I mean?
There's been talk of you obviously fighting in America as well. That's got to be soon in your plans to go over there.
Yeah, man. I'd love to. I'd love to. I fought there when I was an amateur once in 2009 when at Vegas. What I liked about America is that all the champions are just floating about. As we're here now in a restaurant, you would just see Zab Judah walk in. You know what I mean? Boza Edwards. It was just real good scenes in America. People are lively, and it's just the norm for champions to be walking about. And that's why I'd love to fight in America, because it is the home of champions. It's the mecca of boxing in its own way, so that would be an honour.
Well, if you fought Wilder, I'm sure that would take place over there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
See, and there you have it. So you have what Anthony Joshua himself said, you know, calling Charles Martin pretty much a bum is dismissive to him, and that, you know, he fought Charles Martin because the champ called him out, and he was willing to fight Stiverne and Molina, you know, people that the haters call bums. You know, you hear him talk about how really no one knew Floyd, and no one was like, you know, touting Floyd until his 39th fight because it was so hard and took him years to build. You know, sort of sounds like Deontay Wilder to me. But anyways, and you also hear him saying, oh, well, you know, when the Wilder fight happens, it'll 100% happen in the U.S. Whatever. So this article that you see here talks about how Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury are the ones that will resurrect the heavyweight division. The first sentence in this thing, it talks about how it's been a long time since the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, you know, happened and was a heavyweight clash. It's like the first sentence. And then it goes on to talk about how Joshua, and this is back in 2016, you know, Joshua is saying that Wilder's at the top of his list. You know, the same stuff that we're hearing now that's not happening. You know, Wilder's at the top of his list. You know, it'd be such a marketable fight and blah, blah, blah. And all this other nonsense, you know, but one of the things that caught my attention in this article was one of the things that they brought up, and they said about Tyson Fury and Vitaly Klitschko. I'm not Vitaly, but Vladimir. This is before Joshua fought him, you know, and they were questioning his skills. They said, hey, has Vlad's skills have declined beyond the point of reclamation, you know? So just like, they were quick to praise this man, but they were quick to praise him when he fought Joshua. But, you know, now that he at this time back then, you know, they were trying to discredit him to a certain degree. But yeah, so you guys go ahead and take a look at those not just the articles, but the videos themselves, because they're all there. So Anthony Joshua, you know, he went on, he fought Dominic Breazeale. And then in the Breazeale post-fight, he had some interesting things to say. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
With the inquiry, but you know, we're doing our thing, and we want to get all the belts. If that means those belts become vacant, I see Deontay Wilder calling out AJ's name tonight because everybody's calling his name out. Oscar De La Hoya just tweeted, Luis Ortiz is the best heavyweight in the world, let us fight you now. There's not a heavyweight in the world that doesn't want to fight Anthony Joshua because they all tune in and, you know, Charles Martin's obviously told them there's a few quid on the table. So, you know, but ultimately, we're going to do the right fight. We like the Joseph Parker fight. Yeah. You know, that's the mandatory. We'll have to deal with that at some point. Yeah. And whether that's in November, December, or whether that's in March or April, it's a good fight, good undefeated, hungry fighter. You know, and in the crowd. Yeah, attack it. Yeah, you know, give him away.
Could they compete with you? Does this mean someone like Deontay Wilder is the other world champion?
Yeah. The good thing I said, like, I'm in a good position, like Wilder's, Fury's, Hayes, any one of them. Do you know what I mean? We've got a good list to pick out of, and they all want me. So
that's a fight we'd like to build towards the dual pay-per-view on Showtime and Sky here. So we need probably a couple more fights, maybe even a fight in America in early 2017. But there's so many, you know, we're looking at the Fury fight. Klitschko might be given the belt back. I mean, I don't know, you know, I mean, that's a fight we'd love as well. We want to build towards the Wilder fight. But I think tonight was, I always said when we accepted the Martin fight, AJ was going to have to learn on the job a little bit. Yeah. And that's what tonight was perfect for. You know, it was a...
It was tougher than expected,
yeah, it was.
So if it's on the table, you take Klitschko next?
I mean, a lot of things have to be right with that fight, but I'm always reluctant to make a fight of that magnitude in November, December. You know, but again, these guys aren't going to be around forever. That's true. So, you know, speak to the trainers and see. But the main thing now is I'm so excited to have a rest. Honestly, I can't tell you how excited I am. Go on, you call them all. No, sure. He's sitting out in his bed. He practices at home, but he does. Kids go, I'm coming for you. Deontay.
You ask me about, yeah, they're great fights.
Yeah.
And it'd be tough. It's not easy in there, but you've got to fight the best and learn, right? So it's going to come sooner or later. But anyway, there's no way I wouldn't fight. To me, it's just another fight, but it would be class. I think the history of it, it would work. And if the big man make it work, then why not? And I think that's why people want them Wilder fights, Fury fights, because that's the ones that last in people's memories for years to come. You know, Dominic Brazil, I think that was fun. Now they want to know what's next. When are we going to get that exciting fight? So they're waiting for that memory-catching fight. So I think we're back. We just got to capture their imagination.
Now, you heard AJ say he's ready. You know, he wants it now. Or not necessarily now, but you heard him say he's ready. You know, it's about whenever he'll fight, wherever. It doesn't really matter. You know, all the things that a champion's supposed to say. You heard him saying all that stuff. But you also hear the underlining in what Eddie Hearn is saying. This is in 2016. Eddie Hearn is saying, oh, we got to build to Deontay Wilder. We built to Deontay Wilder. You know, they're willing to make the Vladimir Klitschko fight. You know, they're talking about Stavern. They're talking about Molina. You know, they're talking about Tyson Fury. They're willing to make all those. You know, those are the ones that, oh, yeah, this is a good fight. And, you know, that's a big not fight of that magnitude and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to Deontay Wilder, every single time it's, oh, we're going to build to that fight. We want to build to that fight. Well, why? What are we building for? If he's a bum killer, you know, if he's the worst champion, he's all these other things, what are you building for? You know what I'm saying? This fight could have happened then. Deontay Wilder came out and said, I hear you saying sooner rather than later. Well, let's make sooner now. I want to fight now. This is 2016. 2016. So, I mean, we're talking about Deontay Wilder never did nothing. You never heard Deontay Wilder mention your name. The man, this is what they said. Deontay Wilder never mentioned my name. Here we are. This is 2016. This is the beginning of it all. And he's calling this man out. Let's fight now. So it was clear to see that Anthony Joshua and Hearn, Team Joshua, were not ready to fight Deontay Wilder, regardless of what they were saying, because they could have made that fight. They just chose not to make that fight. They could have made that fight. They just chose not to. So they needed something to push off the heat that was starting to build on them. So what they did was what they normally have been doing. Now looking back in hindsight, you can see the patterns. You know, when the heat comes on, they just throw out a bullshit number that they have no intentions of fulfilling. Oh yeah, well this is gonna be a pay-per-view. We're gonna build this to a pay-per-view, and we're gonna fight Deontay Wilder early 2017 in America. You know, it's gonna be a pay-per-view, a dual pay-per-view. We're gonna fight him early in 2017 in America. And then as soon as that time comes for that fight to happen, you know what I'm saying? Because a little bit of time has gone on, then they switch the narrative. You know, let's build Deontay Wilder up. We're gonna build him up. You don't care about building him. You didn't care about building Charles Martin. You didn't care about building Joseph Parker. Stop the lies. You don't care about building him. That's just the BS that you use, the BS excuse you use to get over it. You know what I'm saying? And then you throw in there, we're going to build him up. We're going to give him Dillian White to raise his profile. We're going to give him, did you give Joseph Parker Dillian White to raise his profile? He fought on YouTube. Did you give Charles Martin anybody to raise his profile? He fought on Wilder's undercard. But you throw Dillian White at Deontay Wilder, like, okay, well, fight Deontay Wilder. Fight Dillian White. We'll give you twice your highest purse. Because at the time, Deontay Wilder's highest purse was like 1.5 at that time. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, yeah, we'll give you twice your purse, twice your high. Well, guess what? Deontay Wilder's not stupid. Eddie Hearn is quick to talk about how people are doing Deontay Wilder wrong and blah, blah, blah. And, he's not making the money he should make and all this other nonsense. Real quick to use those excuses. However, you gave Charles Martin 34 times his highest purse. 34 times. You know what I'm saying? There's a video that's in this video. You can hear Eddie Hearn talking about, oh yeah, the guys will eventually come to us because they'll probably talk to Charles Martin and realize there's a few more quid on the table. Well, you're offering him only twice what he made, which is still less than what you offered Charles Martin. Charles Martin got $8.5 million. You're offering Wilder 3. So Wilder said, fine, here, I'll do you a favor, up it to 7, and then I'll fight the boy. You couldn't even do that. You didn't want that because you knew what the outcome was going to be. So you didn't want that. You were fine with pushing it off as much as you possibly can. But you needed to piggyback off of Wilder's name because he was hot right then. He was the American champion. He's hot. So since he was hot, you got to piggyback off his name. Oh, Anthony Joshua knocks Deontay Wilder out in 3 rounds. He knocks him out in 3 rounds. So, we got to piggyback off of it. But then the truth comes out. When the truth comes out, then you have to reset all over again. This is the reason why you don't like Anthony Joshua running his mouth. So he did a video, and let's just take a peek. Let's just go ahead and listen to some of the things that he said in this video.
Wilder at Wembley.
It depends. I think if it's pushed that way, it has to happen. And I just think I'm going to do things my way, innit? If Wilder works, we're going to make it happen. If Wilder isn't the right opponent for next year, then we'll put it back on into 2019. But I'm just going to do things my way. People just can't rush my career. That's one thing I've learned, is that I've got a career, I need to map it out. I'm going to take fights at the right time for me. And if it's next year or the year after or the year after, when I fight him, I'll be in a position to beat him. I started boxing in 2008. Wilder turned pro 2009. So he's been a pro 1 year longer than my whole career. So you can see why they're rushing him for certain reasons, and you can see why I'm taking my time for certain reasons. So the fights are there, but as I said, I'm going to do it in my own time and when I feel ready. It's being realistic about where I'm at and understanding that this is a career as well, because who knows? Do you know what I mean? I could take that fight next year and it might not have been the right time. I may have needed another 2 months. As I said, the fighter on my shoulder says, let's rock and roll. The coach on my shoulder says, you know what, Josh? You need to just work on a few more things before you take a fight like that, because when it's all said and done, all that matters is that win. All that matters is that win. Not the fact people say, he didn't fight him here or he didn't fight him there. The manager, my coach, will determine when I fight Wilder. Me on this hand says, it's no problem, we'll fight whenever, but I listen to what my coach says and says, this isn't about you know, putting on a good show for the promoters and anyone. This is about your career, your health, and the decisions you make will kind of pave your future in the sport of boxing. So you have to be smart about each decision you make.
It's about Angelo Dundee said with a fighter, no matter how good he was, matchmaking was as important for his development as a trainer.
No, and that's where we go back to, is about my career. It's even like Pacquiao and Mayweather. It took a bit longer than expected, but when it did happen, it was one of the biggest fights that the boxing world has
matchmaking was
seen.
everything, and for Mayweather, it worked out well for Mayweather. If he'd boxed Pacquiao 5-6 years before that, it might have been a different fight, but it was about timing, getting the win. That's what he did.
So AJ put his foot in his mouth, you know, how he was speaking, what was really on his mind. And then Eddie Hearn had to come out and play cleanup again. Change the subject. Kellyanne Conway twisted. You know, now here he is. Oh, we're taking over the U.S. and blah, blah, blah. We're going to conquer the U.S. market. And then he tells you what it's about. I mean, but you guys don't like to listen to that. You like to put this to the side. He tells you pretty much it's not about the fight. It's not even pretty much. Those are his words. It comes down to two key words: perception and hype. It's not about the fight for him. It's not about the fight for those guys. It has nothing to do with it. This is what this man said. It's an event. They've said it to me in several comments of videos that I've made. This is the reason why I don't understand these UK weirdos and these LTNK protectors, man. I don't get you guys. Because I'm about the fight. You all are about the event. You know, it's the event for you guys. And you hear this man telling you this. You see Hearn telling you this is about the event. Has nothing to do with the fight. It's the event. He's telling you this stuff, and you guys just overlook it and act like it doesn't even matter. You just allow it to be twisted. And all the while, the Bronze Bomber is telling you, you know what I'm saying? He's telling you guys, don't wait. Make the date. He's telling you this. You know what I'm saying? He's putting this out there. Don't wait, make the date. I want Joshua. I want the belts. You know what I'm saying? This is who I want. And what do? They put Dillian White in the middle of Anthony Joshua. That's what they do. Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. Throw Dillian White in the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? Throw him in the middle of it. I mean, it's like frustrating. You guys, and you can see why the champ, Deontay Wilder, is frustrated. You can see why. Why would he not be? You know what I'm saying? You guys are downing him, degrading him at all costs. He's trying to fight the guy that's supposed to be the top dude. And then you guys down him and degrade him for that. And tell him to fight someone that the top dude already knocked out. Like, tell me, what sense does that make? It makes no sense at all. But according to you, he needs to build his profile. You know, oh, they've offered him so much money. Because you guys have had that mindset of the event. They offered him so much money, you know what I'm saying? So much money. Listen to the champ. Listen to his frustrations. But he's clowning you, dude. He's clowning Joshua.
The only thing that's going to make me feel like I have any confidence is to stay at home. The people love me here. I don't have to go nowhere. I don't have to go across the pond. For what? Fuck them people. I don't have to go to Vegas and make motherfucking most money of my life. I'm staying right here where I'm comfortable. Guys, because we can. Why? Because we can. Okay? I'm not. When you gonna fight Wilder? Leave me alone. When I get ready. When I put myself in a better position and I feel like I can win, mate. So then you need to hurry up, cause we run out of patience.
Yo, Deontay, you know what's
There's
funny?
no more time for the start of the 2018, goddammit.
Yo, you know what's funny? You know what's funny? You know,
you don't have no mandatories. You don't have no mandatories. That's it. I'm finna get rid of my mandatory. That's it. Don't wait, make the day.
So you heard the champ. You heard what he was saying. He was clowning, telling that dude, pretty much repeating what he was saying. But, you know, he was repeating it. You guys took that as just spun it however you wanted to spin it, but you're not actually looking at what the man said. The man said he's not in a position to win. And, you know, when he feels like he's in a position to win, then he'll fight Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? But again, you know, Eddie Germ, you know, he comes out because Joshua put his foot in his mouth. He's got to come out. He's got to clean it up. Make it seem like, you know, there is something that is not. So here he is. Go ahead and let's listen to what the Germ says.
The timescale. When would you look to sort of do the Parker fight, do the Wilder fight? Do you want to get them sewn up by the end of the next summer, maybe?
I think the Wilder fight is one for next summer. I'd like him to fight Dillian White. I mean, I've talked to his guys again today.
Wilder.
Yeah, Wilder fight Dillian White, and the winner fights Josh. Parker's a fight we could look at in February or March. But you know, we've got a WBA mandatory potentially. I don't know. You know, but I think the main aim is to fight 3 times next year, and I'd like 2 of those to be for additional belts. Doesn't always work out like that, but you know, the aim is to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and I think it's on. But right now, with everything that's gone on, just get October 28th out of the way, and then we can plan from there. But I think an international fight is a possibility. He doesn't really want to leave the UK and Britain because his fan base is incredible. And next year,
would that be a good way to build that Wilder fight? Maybe get him out over in America at some point before then.
But again, I look at that fight and think actually the place to build the Wilder fight is here. I mean, neither guys are huge stars in America yet. So we'll have to see. But that.
What sort of kind of split are you talking about with?
That's one of the problems, because you cannot possibly think that a fighter with a commercial value, like particularly Joseph Parker and Deontay Wilder, should warrant anywhere near a 50% split in that pot. And it's not being disrespectful, it's just fact. But they will, in their head, think, I'm a champion, my belt's on the line, that is the split. If it is, of course, the fights will never happen. But they're still going to get absolutely giant paydays from fighting Josh on whatever they're offered. They've got to be treated with respect. It's not just a case of, oh, there's a couple of million, take the fight. But they've also got to understand the size of Anthony Joshua. But also, we understand, we want the belts. The public want to see those fights. So we have to try and make them, sometimes at a split that AJ doesn't like, to get those fights. But we'll see.
So there's Eddie Hearn. He's saying, moving the goalpost again, talking about now the fight's going to happen in 2018. Here, because remember, it was supposed to happen in 2017, the beginning of 2017 on a pay-per-view. But, they're moving the goalpost again. And they had the time to do it, but whatever. Moving the goalpost again. Now it's going to happen in 2018 after Joseph Parker. You hear him talking again, adding in Dillian White again. Dillian White. And then you hear him say the winner of Dillian White versus Deontay Wilder fights Anthony Joshua. You clearly hear him say that. Right? But of course, we know this is all in hindsight, so we already know that he came back and reneged on that, but we'll see that later on in this video. You hear him saying that neither of them are a big star in the U.S. You hear him talking about how neither Wilder or Parker deserve a big split, particularly Parker. You hear him clearly saying that. There's a reason for that, because Parker is nowhere near as known as Wilder. His profile is nowhere near as big. I don't know why they even started that profile shit anyway, but whatever. But just remember what Hearn said. Remember, you heard Hearn say this. This is in October. Pretty much in the same month, probably like a week later, you're going to hear Anthony Joshua say something else. So just listen for that in the next one. So Eddie Hearn, he came out saying, he wants to make sure that, try to secure the Wilder fight with White on February 3rd in London. Like Wilder, the champion, needs to travel to the UK to fight a voluntary. Like what? The sense of entitlement of this guy, man, is unreal. You know what I'm saying? It's unreal. Listen, you boost Anthony Joshua up to the ceiling. You clearly said that it's the perception is hype. You clearly said this. It's perception and hype. While Deontay Wilder is actually fighting. Yet this dude is like, oh well, Deontay Wilder he's got to come to the O2. Like what? What are you talking about, dude? Why does Deontay Wilder have to travel anywhere? He's like, oh yeah, I want him to fight on the 3rd in the O2, but then switch it. He'll say that 1 second, then switch it, and then say, yeah, but White has to win silver title. Like he'll deflect it back. He'll say that one little thing and then deflect back, right? And then start talking about. At that time, he was talking about how White is going to be the number one. Like, dude, do y'all even read the damn rules of the WBC? Do you even read the rules? But he's like, oh yeah, this White's going to be the number one. They're going to force the mandatory, and everybody wants to deal with Joshua. Bro, like, come on, man. Like, you're putting this dude, you're putting him on his high horse, and you're setting him up for failure. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, oh, so Wilder came back out, right? Wilder said, it's all in the same article. Wilder was like, well, look, if you want me to fight Dillian White, I'll fight Dillian White, as long as you guarantee Joshua. If you guarantee the winner, then I'll fight him, no problem. You know what I'm saying? I'll fight him, no problem. Eddie Hearn's like, all right, well, he made it known that we'll give him, meaning Joshua, we'll give that fight to Wilder. But remember, he had already said this. He had said the winner of White Wilder gets Joshua. He said this, and here we are again talking about it in this article. Y'all can look this article up for yourself. But here we are again talking about it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just sitting back like, bro, like, how can you condone this? How can you get behind this and support this type of fuckery, man? Because that's what it is. But, just go ahead and listen to what Joshua had to say.
I know that he's recently been sounding off on the fact that Eddie Hearn has mentioned that there would not be a 50-50 split if you guys were to fight. So he takes that as in they're trying to put roadblocks in front of you two because you don't want to face him. Do you want to respond to him saying that?
If he wants 50-50 and that's the only thing that makes a fight happen, for me, as I said, like, all of my fights have been easily made. So there's always a way to make a fight made. If 50-50 is going to be an issue and all he wants is money, there'll be a way that he can reap the rewards financially. If he wants to fight and he realizes from a point of view on like commercial value and so on and so forth, and he might realize he might have to take a cut, or I might have to take a cut, sometimes I might have to bite the bullet. I might have to say, do you know what, Wilder, I'll take less to make this. Do you know what I mean? So there's ways to make it happen. So don't worry, champ. If there are issues that are facing us and we need to resolve them, I'll be more than willing to find a way to make the fight happen, because that's just what we do.
So then Deontay Wilder comes out, and he's like, look, I'll fight Dillian White. I'll fight Dillian White, no problem, as long as you put Joshua on the contract. Because at this time they was talking, like I said, they wanted Deontay Wilder just to go over and fight Dillian White in the O2 as a voluntary. Wilder's like, what? Man, I'm the champion of the world, but I reside in the U.S. So if you want a voluntary fight, then the voluntary is going to be here. I ain't going to the damn U.S. for Dillian White. But then he was like, well, but what I will do is if you put Joshua on the contract, I will absolutely go to the UK to fight Dillian White and Joshua. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't even blaming Dillian White. He was more so saying, he's a fighter. He's going to do what he does. But Dillian White he's talking crazy, of course, reckless, trying to build this shit up, but whatever. But, again, he told Eddie Hearn, he said, look, you put Dillian White on the contract and I'll go anywhere in the world to fight him. I mean, you put Anthony Joshua on the contract and I'll go anywhere in the world to fight Dillian White. Just put him on the contract. That's all you had to do. I mean, at this time, well, one, you had already said it twice. You had already said twice that the winner would get Dillian White. It's in this video out of your own mouth saying the winner gets Anthony Joshua, not Dillian White. The winner of White Wilder gets Joshua. You know what I'm saying? It's in this video out of your own mouth. You know what I'm saying? And all this time while Wilder's trying to make this fight and he's trying to get Wilder to come to the UK, he's trying to get Anthony Joshua to go to the US. To go to the US and fight to fight Gerald Miller. To fight Big Baby Miller. I mean, he's giving Miller props. It's like, oh yeah, we're looking at potential opponents for Anthony Joshua in the States, and Jarrell Miller at the top of the list. What? He's not even a champion. How is Jarrell Miller at the top of the list and he's not even the champion? And the champion's been calling you out for a minute, and all you're doing is making excuses, talking about you want to build this and build that, you know, but in the same token saying that Joshua knocks him out in 3 rounds. Like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, again, I believed him when he said he's all hype. I believed him. It's his fans that don't believe him. You know, the protectors, the LTNK, they don't believe him. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones that are like pushing this off as if this man is actually pressing to make fights that he really is not trying to press to make. You know what I'm saying? That's them. And then, you know, while all this time this is going on, you know, while all this is going back and forth between Team Wilder and Team Joshua, you know, they still got the Pulev negotiations going on for their mandatory. And the White ducking, you know, because if you remember early on in this video when Eddie Hearn was like, oh, well, we have a WBA mandatory, with a WBA mandatory. So, you know, he didn't never mention he had the IBF mandatory, if you guys recall. And if you don't, scroll back in this video and look and see what he was talking about, what he said out of his mouth. Oh yeah, we have our WBA mandatory coming up. So, you know, who knows about that? He never mentioned the IBF until now. Until now, he's mentioning the IBF. But the crazy thing is, they say, Takam was a short notice. No, he wasn't. Because if you look at this article right here, it even says Joshua will instead face Carlos Takam, who had been lined up as a replacement months ago in case Pulev did indeed pull out injured. Like, how are you supposed to know he's going to pull out injured months ago? How would you know that? How would you know he's going to pull out injured months ago? And if you remember in one of the other videos, in this video, one of the other videos that I have clipped out, you can hear Hearn and Joshua talking about Takam. Yeah, Takam. You can hear them. It's in this video. Just go back, rewind this, go back a little bit, and you will hear it. They're talking about Takam. They ain't talking about Wilder. They're talking about Takam. But in the same respect, I'm sitting here like, bro, how can you line up Carlos Takam months ago to replace Pulev based on an injury that you don't even know if he even has? Make that make sense. Like, cut the bullshit, man. Cut the bullshit. I'm just sitting back like, bro, this is fucking pathetic. And then after all of that, Hearn comes out and says, oh, Deontay Wilder will not be guaranteed a shot at Dillian White. I mean, not guaranteed a shot at Anthony Joshua if he fights Dillian White. That's just those are 2 separate deals. Like, that's what you just said on multiple occasions. That the winner will get Joshua. On multiple occasions, you said that. Multiple occasions. And then now you're switching it up. Oh, those are 2 separate deals. We can't do, everybody knows that Joshua and White are 2 separate deals, and we're not going to hoard out Joshua like that. We're not going to whore him out like that. And no, it doesn't work that way. Those are 2 separate contracts. Just fight Dillian White for the most money you've ever made in your career, and then we can worry about Joshua at a later date. Like, come on, man. So then, to do some more ducking and avoiding or strategically fighting, Team Joshua starts going after Joseph Parker, but they're trying to lowball this dude too. So now they got options, right? You either lowball, you either give in to Parker, or you're gonna have to give in to Wilder. Here, pick your poison. And of course, they've been saying consistently they're trying to build Wilder, trying to build up a Wilder fight, build up a Wilder fight. So it doesn't make sense for them to fight Wilder right now because they're ducking, avoiding, and AKA building. So they're strategically fighting every and anybody else not named Deontay Wilder. So of course they're going to go after Joseph Parker. So being that, they're going to have to give the dude a better split, which they have said, we got to overpay Parker, blah, blah, blah. But, we'll get to that. So they got to give him a better split, So they were trying to give the man 20%. And, Higgins came out and was like, oh, they're trying to kill it by offering us 20%. That's not a real offer. It's a disrespectful offer. So if it's disrespectful to offer Joseph Parker 20%, then what is it to offer Deontay Wilder $15 million in a potential $100 million fight? That's 15%. But whatever, moving on. They were trying to just go ham on it, but enough with the Joseph Parker stuff. Right? It's really irrelevant to me. The main thing about this video that I want to stick with is Deontay Wilder. I mean, the only time I bring up parts about Joseph Parker is when they have some relevance to it. But Deontay Wilder came back at him again and said, "Hey, look, I want this work." You know what I'm saying? Well, he said whenever Anthony Joshua accepts the fight, he'll be there. Period. It's Eddie Hearn that's delaying unifications. And if you can't see that and everything that I've done so far, you don't want to see it. You know what I'm saying? Eddie Hearn is delaying that. Anthony Joshua is a fighter, but I don't even believe he has the confidence in himself that he says out into the public. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe he has that. He's going to have to prove it. I don't believe it. He's not showing it. You know what I'm saying? He's not showing it at all. But Eddie Hearn is 100% delaying it. You know what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder even said it. And he don't have to say it to us. Everybody says, "Oh, you do all your talking in social media, blah, blah, blah." He's calling out everybody. What is he supposed to do? They won't fight him. So he said he can only fight who's willing to get into the ring with him. And here again, Anthony Joshua comes out talking about, "Oh, well, we'll fight in the summer of 2018 because boxing needs it." 100%. This is the shit I'm talking about right here. 100% boxing needs it. Blah, blah, blah. And Deontay Wilder's like, "Look, man, the ultimate goal is to get Joshua. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be sit up here doing this and that. You know what I'm saying? Joshua's talk about he ain't ready and he needs to be in a better position, blah, blah, blah." But he fought Vladimir Klitschko, a dude that supposedly, was this great legend, you know what I'm saying? But he fought Vladimir Klitschko. So how much more experience does this man need before he can fight Deontay Wilder? So Deontay Wilder ended up fighting Bermane Stiverne because Ortiz had the blood pressure issue. And then right after that, the champ had some choice words for Joshua. Go ahead and take a listen.
Now let's get back to Joshua for just a moment. His promoter, Eddie Hearn, says you should come over and fight Dylan White. Will you do that if that's what it takes to get a fight with Joshua?
The thing about it, a king don't chase a peasant. King chase kings. I want Joshua.
Does that mean you won't have another fight until it's Anthony Joshua? And what's the plan if he doesn't give you that fight?
If he don't give me that fight, then we got other plans, other routes that we have. They trying to give me a peasant as in Dylan White, but they don't want to put Joshua on that contract. Why should I go to England to fight a peasant without the king on the contract? King don't chase peasants, like I said. We throw lettuce at him and spoiled tomatoes at him. He can eat that. But the world wants Joshua.
All right, well,
the world want Wilder.
All right, let me ask
I want Joshua. Joshua, come and see me, baby.
Well, if
no
he
more
doesn't...
hiding, no more ducking, no more dodging, no more excuses. Let's make the fight happen. Let's see who's the best. I know I'm the best. Are you up for the test?
Will you go and fight him in England if that's required?
My belt says the heavyweight champion of the world.
So does his. And he has
but
a couple
the
of...
thing about him, the difference between me and him, they rather stay in their safe haven over in England.
But will you go? There's the question.
I will go anywhere in the world, Jim. Anywhere in the world. When I'm about to go to Russia,
yes, sir.
I'll go to England as well, too. So make the date. Don't wait.
All right. Let's hope it happens. Deontay, congratulations. Thank you.
Bomb Squad!
So after that, the talks between Team Joshua and Team Parker were still ongoing. It's clear that there was negotiations between Wilder and Parker for a fight, but Higgins said that the money that Wilder and them offered wasn't enough. So, they ended those negotiations and moved on with Team Joshua, which pretty much tells you that they bought yet another belt. Right after that, Team Joshua, Eddie Hearn himself came out talking about, the fight will absolutely, no question, with Deontay Wilder happen next year. That's what he said. It will absolutely happen next year without question. and then started confirming that they were in talks, because while they're saying, no one's ever reached out to me, no one's ever talked to me, I've never talked to anybody, no one ever said anything to me, all you gotta do is call me, all you gotta do all this other nonsense, whatever, man. Because one day they say one thing, the next day they say another. So here is Kern confirming that he's in talks with talks with Wilder's team. They're talking about it's just pathetic, man. It is just pathetic. They're still trying to put in there Dillian White, why Dillian White was offered, trying to raise a profile, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, bro, you've already said that nobody knows Joshua in the U.S. You've already said this. You said that both of them are not big in the U.S. You said this. You know what I'm saying? Which isn't true, but you said it all the same. So if you're going to say that, if you're going to say no one's big, and then you look at, well, I'll get to that. I'll get to that shortly. But the bottom line is you said what you had to say. You want these guys, you want Wilder to come over to the UK and fight Dillian White, but you're not willing to put Joshua on the contract. Whatever. Moving on. Deontay Wilder, Eddie Hearn says Wilder should have no say in where the fight takes place at. No, he should have no say in nothing. And again, yet another article where he's admitting that they're in talks, confirming they're in talks. Saying, oh, Wilder's not going to get 50-50, blah, blah, blah. But listen, dude, didn't Parker start at 50-50? The Parker negotiation started at 50-50, and because you didn't want to fight Deontay Wilder, you negotiated with him. But now that you have 3 belts, you were just trying, well, you don't have them just yet, but you were just, man, it's just horrible, man. Like, if you guys can't see what's going on with this, I don't know what more to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what more to tell you. And then, you go through all of this nonsense, all of this scrambling about how Wilder's so bad, he's skinny legs, he's not fighting anybody, all this other stuff. And then you get back to Eddie Hearn talking about Anthony Joshua will knock Deontay Wilder out in 3 rounds. Again, you get back to this nonsense again, but yet you won't fight the man.
Christopher has tweeted in saying, it's all gone quiet with AJ v Wilder. What is the hold-up that has to happen in 2018?
It may appear to have gone quiet, but there's been plenty of conversations behind the scenes. I met with Al Heyman and Shelley Finkel. My old man was in New York. I actually so every now and again I send in the cavalry. Was Deontay Wilder wants, I'll say it, 50-50, and we say, no way, mate. So there's not. Sometimes, like I said, you get that feeling.
Why are you saying no way? Because on the real heavyweight fight would be that fight, because I'm getting guys like in the barbershops and that talking about this fight, and some guys who don't really know boxing, they're talking up Deontay Wilder some stratospheric heights. I'm not disrespecting Deontay Wilder because I don't want him to come back and say that I'm agreeing to everything that you say. You know what I mean? It's the brothers. It's hurting my feelings.
You like to play devil's advocate,
it's hurting my
but I'll
feelings.
put it as, Spencer, having been an ex-fighter, that if Anthony Joshua is currently earning X, to go to him and say you can earn X plus a little tiny bit more to
in
fight
a unification
Deontay
fight.
Wilder in the biggest fight in world boxing, that doesn't add up. If Deontay Wilder's earning $1.5 million a fight, but you can earn $10 million for this fight.
So what is it going to be to take it over the line? What's going to have to happen?
Well, we're going to have to find an agreement on the split. But in the meantime, we can't be waiting around. There is an understanding generally from both sides that this fight happens in the summer, by the way, and not next. And despite what Deontay Wilder says, and I do believe both fighters would take it next if a deal could be reached, but the general understanding from everybody is that this is a summer fight, or even potentially an early autumn fight. In America, it's not a problem either. Maybe we do 2 fights. Maybe we do a stadium fight here, then we do a Vegas fight. Anthony Joshua's ambition is to win every belt. I want to make that clear. Yeah. So therefore, we have to fight Deontay Wilder at this moment in time, unless he gets defeated.
What do you think would happen if Anthony Joshua was to fight Deontay Wilder?
I believe he knocks him out within 3 rounds.
Within 3 rounds?
Yeah. I think Wilder is an incredibly risky fight.
And after all that, Joshua and Parker, Team Joshua, Team Parker, were still in negotiations. They were getting close, still weren't there yet. It was still the price split. Again, Joseph Parker started out with a 50-50 split. I don't understand how he started out with the 50-50 split and it was okay for them to negotiate with him, but Deontay Wilder says he wants 50-50 and they won't negotiate at all. He's in dreamland, la la land, whatever. But the bottom line is that's where Joseph Parker started out with 50-50. I've already showed you in this video, he started out with 50-50. They worked and negotiated. Eddie Hearn's talking about they're going to have to overpay Joseph Parker. They're looking, the terms is a 35-65 split in favor of Joshua. So when Hearn says, oh, we didn't give Joseph Parker 32 or 33%, I don't know where you got that from. Yeah, you're right. You didn't give him 32 or 33%. You gave him 35. So that's just the more slick talk that Eddie Hearn does. Oh, where did you get 33%? We never gave Joseph Parker 33%. We never gave him 32%. Never. I don't know where you guys got those numbers from. Yeah, you're right, because you gave him 35%. But whatever. I mean, you'll twist it. The LTNK will twist it. It is what it is. But they were still in negotiations. They already said, yeah, we're going to have to overpay for unifications. But then when it comes to Wilder, it's like, no, we're not overpaying. But you have consistently said that that's the big fight. Consistently said that that's the biggest fight in boxing on multiple occasions. Numerous times you said that's the biggest fight in boxing. But if it's the biggest fight in boxing, it's the big fight. How is it not? How does he get less than Joseph Parker? How does he get 15 million flat? How does he get that? How does he get no percentage at all? If this is the big fight, if this is the biggest fight in boxing, which I pointed out and showed you throughout this video that Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua have said consistently. So Anthony Joshua did another video. Listen to what he had to say now.
And one guy that's come out of the woodwork who's got a lot of money to put on the table is Dana White. When you first heard this number, 500 million as a possibility, how did that rest on your ears and what's your response?
500 million. You gotta stop talking about that number, but it's emotional, bro. Never thought I'd see that kind of money. Hey, bro. Everyone in here get a drink, it's on me. That contract gets signed.
Is there a deal to be made? I mean,
I don't know. I hope there is. Shit, I'll be giving elbows, knees, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it takes, submissions, you know what I'm saying? Bro, that's a lot of paper. You'll fight for that.
In a heartbeat, I'd fight you for that right now.
You crazy, no, you crazy.
No. Okay, so that's not the only deal on the table. There's not the only that guy's bringing 500 million. No one else is doing that, but
500 million.
A guy with a more realistic offer.
Okay, that's the American dream, right? Anthony, from the UK, we want you to come to America. You would think America's throwing up the big checks. That's what we're talking about. So even a quarter of that. And a quarter of that. Just give me some money. There's a lot of money in it. Yeah. So in terms of, let's say another offer comes on the table, if it is the best thing for me, we have to look at the best way to make it work.
The only other offer that I've heard about, it seems to be palatable to Eddie Hearn, is the one that Wilder put on the table. And he says, listen, give me whatever you want. Make the split whatever it is, whatever the conditions are, fine, I'll take them. As long as, if I beat you, of course he says when, I beat you, you take the same in return.
That's no problem. No, that's no problem. So it's simple.
Okay, so he says a lot of money. You know, they're gonna have to that amount of money. They just give me the money. All this other stuff. Just remember, this is what he's saying because this is a lot of money. This is what he's talking about. And I know some people are gonna say, "Oh, it's not life-changing money." So we'll get to that. He said a quarter. He said 500 million, or a quarter of that, which is 125 million, and then he said, or a quarter of that, which is 31.25 million, just so you know. But, you know, he says no problem. So let's just go ahead and talk to Eddie and see what Eddie has to say about all these subjects.
We believe that Joshua will move broadcast, and I know nothing's signed or sealed, and that fight will become impossible to make.
Well, again, speculation, as I've said in many interviews before, I think with you as well. Yeah. Showtime are our broadcast partner. This is our 6th fight with them or 5th fight with them. They backed us at the start. They get every opportunity to continue. Will he go on another broadcaster? That is not our plan. So, and we don't want. You have to understand. We want the Wilder fight.
Joshua, doesn't matter if I don't want the Wilder fight. Joshua's in control of his entire career. He wants the Wilder fight. It doesn't matter what I say. But forget that. I want to make the biggest fights out there. I want to make as much money as I can. For my fighters, for me, for everybody. Therefore, that's the fight. And it will happen. And if it doesn't happen in the next 10, 11 months, we'll miss the opportunity because of all the mandatories. But we won't join another network and risk losing the Wilder fight because of politics.
So what's your ideal scenario and what's the more realistic
scenario? So my
scenario?
ideal scenario is, firstly, Joshua has the fight of his career on Saturday night. He has to win. If he wins on Saturday night, my idea is that he fights Deontay Wilder by the end of 2018. The options are either go straight into that fight and just do 2 fights this year, boxing October, November, or boxing July or August, and then box the Wilder in December. But either way, it has to happen in 2018. Know this, and all I hear in interviews from him is, Hearn doesn't want to fight. Mate, you could not be more wrong. Could not be. You don't think me, you know me. You don't think I want to put on the biggest fight in world boxing. What would be the point of being a promoter and doing my job if that's not what I wanted? I believe Joshua wins the fight. So why not?
Okay, cool. So if you believe Joshua wins the fight, then Joshua doesn't believe he wins the fight. If you're saying Joshua's in charge of his career, but Joshua in this video is saying, oh, I listen to my promoter and I listen to my coach and, I let them guide my career and stuff. Well, who guides your career? If he's saying he lets you guys guide his career and you're saying he's in charge, then nobody's in charge. So Anthony Joshua doesn't know who's in charge of his career. He's saying that his coach and promoter is. His promoter is saying that he is. There's $100 million pound. According to this, there's $100 million pound. We say $100 million, but they're saying $100 million pound. So that's up more than $100 million. It is a very obvious and clear that this fight is $100 million fight. Easy. $100 million fight, easy. Consistently throughout this video, everything that Hearn and Team Joshua have been saying is that this is the biggest fight in boxing, consistently. So why would it not be anything less than that? Why would it not be? But the crazy part, is Hearn, after all of these things where he is blatantly even saying that he's in meetings with Team Wilder, saying that he's had several meetings with them. Now, all of a sudden, now that he's thinking the coast is clear, that people are just too fucking stupid and they've just moved on, just mysteriously don't have a memory. He's just like, no one has ever approached this. Like, bro, what are you talking about? You were on video several times saying that you're in negotiations. Several times. You sent your you talked to Shelly, you've known him for so long, blah, blah, blah. Several times. Then you got Anthony Joshua, who's not in control of his career, but his coaches and promoter is in control of his career, but his promoter says he's in control of his career. He's coming out saying, oh, the fight has to happen for 2018. It has to happen. It has to happen. It's like, bro. So this dude comes out and says, hey, he's on his high horse. He's way up on his high horse and he's just talking out his ass. And he's just like, all right, if they think that it's $100 million fight, which I just showed you that it's clearly what the UK is saying is 100. They're saying it's 100 million pounds. The US is saying it's $100 million. 100 million pounds is more than $100 million. But that's what they're saying, 100 million pound. Now, Joshua's coming out and he says, okay, well, if they say this is a $100 million fight, right? And they want to do 50-50, I'll tell you what, give me my 50 million up front and I'll sign this fight tomorrow. That's what he said. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said. On what, the 4th of April? He said that out of his own, he said that, you know what I'm saying? Now, that was on him, whether he was serious or not, was on him, but he seemed like he was serious. Looking at some of if you go back and look at the video he did with Radio Raheem, where he was talking about how much money it is, and if it's lucrative, he's got to make some things happen. That's $50 million. It's a lot of money. You're willing to fight Radio Raheem in headlocks and elbows and stuff like that. I mean, so what's the difference now? What's the difference now? You said give you $50 million. A whole bunch of videos came out. You know what I'm saying? People that the LTNK haters and the dick riders and fan bitches, they were all out in droves. Like, oh yeah, look. So Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua just called your bitch ass out. He said if it ain't all serious, it ain't about this, it ain't about that. Well, then get the $50 million. Then bring the $50 million. Nobody was sitting back saying, and make sure you show me your taxes. Make sure you show me exactly where you got it from. I want to see where every red cent came from. You can't borrow it from nobody. You can't ask it from nobody. You got to come up with it out of your own pocket. Nobody was saying any of that. Ironically, when they thought Deontay Wilder couldn't come up with it, this is what they were saying. This is how they were disrespecting him. Well, Joshua called you a bitch ass out. He called you out. Now come up with the money. If it's all that, if you got Al Heyman, you got all these people in your corner, come up with the money then. Do this and do that. So about a week went past, and then Eddie Hearn finally came out with an offer. Finally. $12.5 million flat fee, take it or leave it. That's what Eddie Hearn came out with. That was his offer. And it's funny because now they come out and say, "Oh, I don't know where this take it or leave it came from. We never said take it or leave it." Yes, you did. Yes, you did. It's in multiple articles. Yes, you did. That's exactly what you said. 12.5 million, take it or leave it, or we're going to move on. In the biggest fight that you've said consistently for the past 2 years, the biggest fight in boxing, $12.5 million. Vladimir Klitschko got more than that. $12.5 million for the biggest fight in boxing. Name any fighter in the history of boxing that got $12.5 million for the biggest fight in boxing. In any boxing match. Any boxing match that's considered the biggest fight in boxing, name a fighter that got $12.5 million. Good luck. It's absolutely pathetic, man. Absolutely pathetic. So Team Wilder got it, and it was like, bro, this is not a real deal. This is not a real deal at all, man. This is a disrespectful deal. You spent all this time talking about being realistic and doing all this other nonsense, but you gave a 47% split to Charles Martin. You gave a 50% split to Vladimir Klitschko, and you gave a 35% split to Joseph Parker, but yet you give a 12.5 flat fee in a fight that will do 100 million easy. So you're going to give 12.5% for a fight that will do 100 million easy. Not only will it do 100 million, but the residuals will do even more. And what I mean by residuals is because you will have broken the U.S. market. You will have cracked the U.S. market. You would be that guy globally, period. And you are not that yet. Right now, you are looked at as a coward. You are looked at as ducking Deontay Wilder. That's what you are looked at, period. However you want to slice it, dice it, sugar-coat it, or salt it, that is what it is. And until you fight that man, that's exactly what you will continue to be. And it's crazy because this man is saying it, even if Deontay Wilder is to lose to Tyson Fury, which I don't believe he will, Anthony Joshua is saying now that, I want to fight him win or lose. Like, bro, you can't make this shit up. But I don't want y'all to go off my word. Listen to Anthony Joshua and hear what he said himself.
What's the deal regarding the offers being made from your side? You said that a few offers had been made. Does that suggest that there were how many offers and what was rejected?
Well, offers are always made. That's how we are where we are. That's how boxing works. So we've had some great offers. We've had some great fights and entertaining ones. And it's put us in this position. So regarding Wilder, he's interested in fighting like myself. So there's no offer from America. So the offer comes from the UK.
Bro, what are you talking about, man? They asked you a simple question. How many offers? You can't answer because there wasn't any. You know, Eddie Hearn puts all his business out there quick. There wasn't any. If there was, then you would have knew about it. But you don't know. That's why you're saying that weird ass shit.
You know, they want 60-40 split. They're happy to take 40%. You know, and they're happy to give me 60%. So, yeah. So apparently it's $100 million fight.
Yeah, can you just clarify?
It's $100 million fight, right? Would you say so?
No.
Okay, but we're gathering that this is a $100 million fight. That's what they're saying. And they want 40% of that pot. So I said, okay, what's 60% of 100 million?
Okay, 60, yeah.
60 million?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take 50 million up front. If that's the case, Wilder's team, bring me 50 million up front and we'll take the fight.
So, what's a more realistic...
Yeah, I've just agreed.
Okay.
I've just agreed.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. It's not hard. It's as simple as that. Like, deals get done, fights get made, and entertainment happens next. That's
So they're happy to give you 60%. I mean, you've never made any offers. You're either oblivious or you're a fucking idiot. And Eddie Hearn is just lying to you left and right. You've talked about consistently about how you hear them calling your name, about how you hear them saying that they'll take anything that you offer. You went through videos saying, oh, they're asking for 50-50. That's no problem. Now all of a sudden you're saying there's been no offers. So the offer's gonna come from the UK. They're happy to give you 60%. Like, what fucking world are you living on, dude? And the crazy part about this is the LTNK and the rest of these fucking AJ dick riding idiots feed into this shit as if you didn't say anything that was said in this video prior to now. And on top of that, where did you say, give me 50 million and make sure you can show me proof of funds? Where did you say that? Did you say that in any place? No, you didn't.
all we're waiting for.
Was it a flat fee that your team's offered them?
Or
can you not comment on that?
I'd rather not, because it's not professional, bro. It's not professional at all.
So it's not professional. It's not professional. You said this, and then a week later, Eddie Hearn comes out and says 12.5 million flat fee. So it's not professional, so you don't say it, but it is professional for Eddie Hearn to say it. Okay, yeah, got it. So who again is in charge again?
Put that aside, it's like people don't want to fight anymore. As I said, people who aren't interested in money, like the up and coming heavyweights, they'll take this opportunity to fight me with a heartbeat. But these ones who are sitting at the top in their throne, you know, it's like they don't want to take no risk no more. They want big rewards to take a risk of fighting me.
Okay, you said put money to the side. Bro, that is the only thing that's been holding up the fight. The fuck do you mean put money to the side? You put money to the side then. You, if that's the case, if they're willing to fight you for free, then you put the money to the side. Because you are the only holdup when it comes to the fucking money. Because you won it all. So you put it to the side. Fuck you talking about these other champions. There's only two of you. It's you and Deontay Wilder. That is all. Tyson Fury has the lineal belt, but you have to beat him for it. The fuck are you talking about, dude?
I read today that Shelley Finkel is preparing a counter offer.
Yeah, cool.
To you. Is that arrived yet, or that offer?
Not yet, no. But no, that's fine. It's the first offer, so I'm happy. We're making progress, finally. But they could have done this 6 months ago, 7 months ago. Shouldn't have to get to this situation. Do you know what I mean?
All right, bro. You said they could have did this 6 months ago. Hold on a second. Do you mean the 40% that he was asking for? That offer? that you guys turned down, so there was no point in doing anything? Or you mean the 50-50 that he said that you guys said he was delusional and turned down and wouldn't do anything? Or do you mean the give me anything that you think I'm worth, as long as you're willing to take that in the rematch? Is that what you're talking about that you turned down? Is that thing? Or are you or did you miss the I'll fight Dillian White as long as you put Anthony Joshua on the contract? Well, which one of those offers did you fucking not know about?
What Wilder said before that he's happy to accept whatever split as long as he got the return in the return fight, the same split in his favour.
That's a 50-50 fight then. So he's basically saying he wants 50-50. So he don't want 60-40. In my favour, he wants 50.
Well, that's what I did a phone interview with him a couple of days before you.
I'm saying to you, yeah, he said that.
Yeah.
So I take 60% in the first fight, you take 40%.
Yeah.
Then in the second fight,
Correct.
you take 60%, I take 40%. So across the two fights, what does that make it?
Yeah.
50-50. So do you listen to what people say, or do you just listen to what people say? You have to really listen to what people say to make sense of it. So that's why I'm not the greatest talker. I'm probably a better thinker. So let people rabbit on. That's why God gave you one mouth and two ears.
Wait. Hold up. Wait, hold on. Did you just hear what the fuck bruh? What? And whoever is interviewing you is dumb as fuck. Okay, all right. Let me clear this up. You dumb motherfucker. If the fight is the 90, if you give Deontay Wilder 90-10, 10% in his favor and 90 in yours, the only way it becomes a 50-50 fight is if you lose. If you win, then it does not. Deontay Wilder said, you can give me anything you want, as long as when I beat you, you take that in the rematch. So the only way that it will be a 50-50 fight is if you lose. If you win, then you are still the A side. So whatever you decide to do, if you even give him a rematch, will not make the fight 50-50. Look, I understand you're a fucking idiot. So I'll break it down into simple numbers, right? And your numbers that you just said, right? So it's a 60-40 fight. 60% for you, 40% for Deontay Wilder. You win. If you decide to give him a rematch, it will not be 60-40. It'll more likely be 70-30, 80-20. That means 140% is in your favor because the 80% plus the 60%, right? So then the 40% that he got and then a 20% potentially will be for him. So that'll be 140 in your favor and 60 in his favor. Fuck you, dog. What are you talking about, man? Where the fuck did you go to? Yo, your school is fucked up. And isn't this the damn offer? You're talking about the offer that potentially and supposedly they never gave? Bruh.
You know, boxing is starting to become a situation where it's like it becomes more business sense, where fighters don't want to take risks no more because I don't want to be ferocious anymore because I might end up making a mistake and taking a loss. And you just got to go in there and be gutter still, just keep that gutter mindset. And that's why I don't want to always pipe up about negotiations, splits, and all that stuff. I know people that would fight me for free, and I'm the same mindset. That's why I give away so much when it comes to fighting me, because I just want to fight.
Bruh, so you give away too much. You give away too much because you just want to fight. But it's not a 50-50 fight. You're not willing to give... fuck you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? If you just want to fight, then why are you worried about the money split? Just like your stupid dick-riding fan bitch is always saying, oh, Deontay Wilder's saying it's not about money, it's about legacy, blah, blah. Well, listen, if you just want to fight, why the fuck do you care about the split?
There's talking for you fighting in New York in August.
Yeah, definitely.
Against Miller.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Miller, he'll take that fight with a heartbeat. I don't rate Miller, but I respect that. Do you know what I mean? I respect that. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Miller will take that fight with a heartbeat. He knows the reward, and he don't care about the risk. It's hunger. I like that.
Jarrell Miller will take that fight in a heartbeat because it's hunger and he doesn't care about the risk and he knows the reward. Are you fucking kidding me? So Deontay Wilder, who was willing to take a $15 million flat fee in the biggest fight in boxing, a champion. Jarrell Miller is not a fucking champion. He's a contender that ducked Pulev for the IBF mandatory, who is trying to fight fucking Emmanuel Char for the fucking WBA regular. He's a fat, slobby nobody. That's who he is, with a big fucking mouth. Who is trying to fucking do the Dillian White and skirt around shit. Fuck, he could be pressing for a Deontay Wilder fight. He's not pressing for shit. He could be pressing. He's trying to fight you. Why? Because you are the payday. That's why he's trying to fight you. That's why. He knows exactly what will happen to him if he fights Deontay Wilder. The same shit that happened to him when he sparred Deontay Wilder and got sent to the fucking hospital. The same reason why Vladimir Klitschko decided to fight you over Deontay Wilder. Just like he sparred Deontay Wilder and didn't want no fucking work with Deontay Wilder. The same reason why. The fuck are you talking about?
Step for you. When do you draw a line under this Wilder thing if you can't reach a deal? Or struggling to reach a deal?
We shouldn't be struggling to reach a deal.
No.
Number one. Where do I draw a line?
Because surely in the next few weeks you want to know when you're going to be fighting next.
I don't understand. Yeah, I won't say too much, but deals have expiry dates, and the environment changes, options present themselves, and I have to look at my career, because my career isn't Wilder, and my career doesn't end at undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. You know, I remember I'm not so much a talker, I'm a thinker, and I plan. So it's a long journey, it's the long term. So I hope it is Wilder, like everyone else. And I'm sure it will be, because I don't see no reason why it wouldn't be.
You don't see why it wouldn't be. You don't see any other reason why it wouldn't be, and you hope it is. Bro, you are the A side. This man has made at least 4 offers to you. At least 4 offers, and you've turned them all down. You just asked for $50 million in this video. By the end of this video, he's going to offer you $50 million, and you're going to turn it down. That's the reason why the fight won't happen. So Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua are all sitting high on their horse, and they come out and want to explain why Deontay Wilder is only worth $12.5 million. And one of the key points, the key points they say is, oh, well, I saw a report. This was a $100 million fight. It's not. If both guys are really built in America, then I think it is really worth that. According to his numbers, his numbers where he said the fight will guaranteed happen, they're going to build it for a pay-per-view in 2017. Well, that didn't work out. And then where he said it's guaranteed going to happen in 2018, and that didn't work out. Where he's like, oh yeah, well, we're about 80% sure that this fight it's gonna work out. It's gonna about 80% sure that this fight will happen. That didn't work out. His numbers are shit. Well, if he's saying, oh, my numbers are off, I'll be so mad. Well, you should be very mad, because you are batting 1,000 in the negative. If whatever you say, go against it, and anybody that goes against it is winning. So this dude says, Deontay Wilder, his He's significantly low. So what he said, oh, here it is right here. So check it. So he says, I know my numbers, and it does around $40 million or $50 million in profit from the show. The show. Okay. It's a fight for Wilder. It's a show for Joshua. So he says he, meaning Wilder, doesn't deserve more than that, in my opinion, which is more than a 12.5. And people say we gave Joseph Parker 33%. We didn't. No, you didn't give him 33. You gave him 35. That's what you gave him. You gave him 35%. That's that bullshit I was talking about earlier. So Wilder said he would accept 40% split with the return leg as part of the clause, and despite this compromise, Hearn feels the American is not deserving of a higher offer due to his previous fight purses and significantly low viewer numbers compared to AJ. Significantly low viewer numbers. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. The Nielsen ratings are ran not by PBC. They are not ran by Deontay Wilder. They are not ran by Shelly Finkel or Al Heyman. They are not. So their ratings are bipartisan. You know, Anthony Joshua's ratings come from Sky. Well, who owns fucking Anthony Joshua? Sky. There is nobody that's an independent that can say these numbers are actually real. No, if Sky says it, then that's just the end of that. There is no independent party that's checking fucking numbers like the Nielsen ratings do over here. So I beg to differ about the significantly lower numbers. And he's like, oh, you have a guy who's making 2 to 2.5 and he deserves 25. Yeah, he does deserve 25. Why? Because he deserves more than 25. But because he is 50% of the biggest fight in boxing. That's why. And if that fight does what is projected, the 100 million that is projected, and he gets 15 flat, then Joshua gets 85. Well, the 50 million that was offered to him is about, 16 or so million less than Joshua's 2 highest purses combined? But just look else what he says. He says he can't sell 10,000 tickets, which he has, so I don't know why he's lying, because he has sold 10,000 tickets. He can't sell 10,000 tickets in a fight, in great fights in America. And we have a guy who is making all this money and can continue doing so in risk-free fights. These are Eddie Hearn's words. Risk-free fights. But you guys eat this bullshit up as if he's fighting greats. So then we go and let's look at the numbers, because they're saying that Wilder's viewership numbers are significantly lower than Joshua's. I beg to differ. These are Nielsen rating numbers. Wilder consistently in the millions. 3 of his last 7? 8. 3 of his last 8 did under a million. 3 of his last 8 did under a million. And everyone that did a million did over a million. When comparison to Anthony Joshua's, none of his did over a million. Not fucking one. Not one. Not one. Not one of his fights did over a million. These are Nielsen ratings. Not one of his fights did over a million. Not one. And the highest one for this third belt against Parker did 809 in 2 showings. Don't give me that, oh, because he's in the U. I don't give a fuck. That's his problem. He can carry his bitch ass to the US where all the money is at, and he can fight these fights in Vegas, in Brooklyn, in Madison Square Garden. Nobody is telling him to stay his bitch ass in the UK. Nobody. His fans will travel. Ricky Hatton's fans travel. Prince Nassim Hamed's fans traveled. The UK travels. I'm not trying to hear that shit. If he's this superstar, they will fucking travel. Not trying to hear it. So then Wilder came back, offered him 50 million. Offered him 50 million stacks. So Anthony Joshua is saying, oh, I don't think this fight is worth 50 million. I don't think it's worth 100 million. I don't think it's worth that. I don't think it's worth 100. Okay, well, if you don't think it's worth 100 and you're asking for 50 million, if the fight only does 50 million is what fucking Eddie Hearn is saying conservatively, well, then 100% of the profit, 100% goes to you. 100%. If you guys are so sure that this fight doesn't do $100 million and Team Wilder is so sure that it does, and you turn down 100% of the profits, you know your numbers, remember? You know your numbers. You supposedly know your numbers. So since you supposedly know your numbers and your number says 50 million at best, that's your number, 50 million at best. Well, if you know your numbers, it does 50 million at best, and he is offering you 50 million. He's offering you 100% of the purse. And even if you are wrong, even if you're off your numbers and he's right, he is still willing to give you 50% of everything left over. 50% of everything over 50 million. Team Wilder is so sure that this fight will do 100 million that they are offering you 100% of the purse plus 50% of anything it makes over the money that they're guaranteed. They are giving you 50 million guaranteed up front before you even put your mouthpiece in. Before you even have one of your LTNK fan bitches grease up your thighs and chest. He's giving you $50 million guaranteed. The only person that came close to that is Floyd Mayweather when he got 41.5 for Canelo. He is giving you 50 million guaranteed. And instead of you saying, yes, give it to me, now prove the funds are real after I agree to take it, you are so cowardly, so bitch that you will not even agree to take it. You will not even agree to take the money you asked for. You were so confident. You were so upbeat. You were so sure of yourself, sitting on your high horse so tall when you're saying, well, give me $50 million. See, they're not making offers like that. Well, then he came back and finally gave you what you asked for because you finally said a price. You finally put a price out there, 12.5. You finally put a price out there. Unbelievably bitch. The most cowardly dude ever. Ever. In the history of boxing, you are the most cowardliest dude ever. And if it isn't you, then it's your promoter. And if it isn't your promoter, then it's you. Because we don't know who the fuck is in charge over there. While you're talking about, oh, Deontay Wilder got 3 bosses. Well, Anthony Joshua literally has no boss. Because you say you're his boss one day because you can sign for him. So you're his boss. Then the next day, you're not his boss because he runs things. So you don't know who the fuck is in charge. You have no clue. None. Neither one of y'all do. Y'all just pass the buck like a hot potato so that y'all can both say no to something and blame it on the other one. Absolutely fucking pathetic.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
You are thirsty. Man, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Get all the way the fuck out of here. Get all the way the fuck out of here. Man, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Get all the way the fuck out of here. Get all the way the fuck out of here. Man, bullshit. You can mix me with the bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. Get all the way the fuck out of here. Man, bullshit. You can mix me with the bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. Get all the way the fuck out of here. Man, they know. I've been a real nigga since the day, yo. Trapping since they cut me off the neighbor.